we have heard so many great insights from you all today, and I would like you to maybe consult your crystal ball a little bit now. We have talked a lot about opportunities, but if you could make a prediction, what do you feel would be the most impactful development, 10 years, 15 years down the road? Where does the future lie for technology? And I guess I don't want to say most importantly, but very importantly, what can the industry do to help facilitate some of these advancements? And I know we have commented on that a little bit and the need for more connectivity, but I will invite you to just kind of put your thinking caps on and look into the future a little bit and see if you could make any predictions. We won't hold you to them, but would love to hear your thoughts. So Alex, I'll go over to you first.
Yeah, I need to look at my crystal ball first. So my crystal ball says there will be definitely several game-changing opportunities for sure in the ag industry. And that will be in both technical and social for sure. And of course, I would probably put farm connectivity and the internet access in every field to the top position. Because even in our daily life, we're still trying to comprehend how much the internet changed everything since it became an essential part of our lives. So there are many rural areas where you just leave the highway and even cell phone coverage is not available. And well, of course, once we're able to connect to the high-speed internet in every part of the field, it will be a completely different story. There will be massive opportunities for various sensor applications, Internet of Things, autonomous equipment, record keeping, data transfer, and so on. Just imagine, now we can collaborate using Google Documents. When I'm typing something, you can see on the other side what I'm typing. And just imagine the same concept when a field machine will be working in the field and either collecting the data or getting data from Data Hub and implementing that in the field in real time. That will be a completely different life, and we're not there yet, but it's coming. The second thing I would definitely say about predictive algorithms based on machine learning and AI, because it will make farming much more accurate and more efficient. Just going back to one of my first comments, unfortunately, it takes a little bit longer than in many other industries. So again, we have to be patient, persistent, and well, of course, it requires a lot of expertise and a lot of resources. So at Olds College, we work on building those new predictive algorithms for nutrients, soil nutrients, and some other characteristics. And of course, we're grateful to Kane and our key partners, such as Telesag and BASF, Xarview, for their support of our efforts. And of course, streamlining, automating existing technologies, that's still an opportunity. For example, navigation and auto steer that we're talking about, it was almost immediately accepted by the industry because it was very easy. You just buy it and you use it and enjoy it. And many very good and amazing ag technologies, they're still struggling because of lack of automation. And for example, variable rate fertilizer application requires delineation of management zones, creating of prescription files, soil testing, tuning hardware, so many different things. So eventually it can generate the profit, but the amount of work that you currently need to add to that process is still might be excessive. So once all that sequence of operations will be automated or streamlined, it will improve its efficiency by at least one order of magnitude. And well, of course, I cannot avoid mentioning blockchain because there are many people talking about that. It's still an emerging technology, but very attractive because it will open new horizons for product traceability and for many other things for smart contracts. And the last thing I want to mention, it's more a social thing, but again, at the same time, it's one of the fundamental things that was mentioned several times today, sustainability. Because if we want the business to grow, if we want our farming becoming more and more efficient, well, we cannot deplete our resources such as soil, such as nutrients, such as clear water. So we have to be farming so efficiently so the future generations will have more resources and more opportunities than we have today. So look forward to it.
Wonderful. Great comments, Alex. Thank you. Darcy, what does your crystal ball say? What are you looking at in the future?
Yeah, I won't, a lot of what Alex said are maybe where some of my mind's going. So I will, I'll reemphasize the point that rural connectivity is necessary to make most of these technologies work. And, the world's talking about 5G, and I'm trying to get 2 bars of service at the farm on my cell phone. So rural connectivity, I think, has to underpin a lot of this. I'm mostly, the thing that I'm most watching, because I think autonomy and everything that's going to happen. I won't talk too much about that in the next 10 years. I think autonomous vehicles will just be a thing on farms. But I'm really watching the crop protection space and using different products like biologicals, or using different things that help us make more efficient use of our available nutrients, or spray less, or spray the right, spray the weeds, not the crop. That's, I'm just watching where it's come over the last 5 years. I think there's pretty exciting to see where it can be, over the next 5 or 10, and, $15 or $16 a liter glyphos. If I can use a tenth as much, I don't care as much, but when I have to use the same amount, those are big, big costs to farmers. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what, is available for farms to use less nutrients and grow the same or more bushels. So it's I don't think there's any farm that's interested in growing less, right? So you at least have to be able to grow as much as you can now, and hopefully still allow us to increase and keep up with with the pace of genetics.
Love that perspective. Alain, I'll go over to you next, please.
Yeah, actually, I'll build a little bit on some of the themes that Darcy was brought up, but kind of think of them even more macro. I had kind of noted 2 big paradigm shifts that I think could be interesting to see how they come out. Darcy talked about autonomy. I would add to that, kind of take robotics and miniaturization. And so, a lot of agriculture today, because of the system in which it operates, people want animal protein at a low cost, a lot of food, at least if we're thinking North American context. So the industry has been driven to commoditize and scale. So equipment gets bigger, farms get bigger, it's all about scale. Then if you flip that and you say, well, actually, what if we can deliver complexity of running a farm and a mix of crops through small robots, autonomous things that can do things that are quite unique, that can't be done with a large machine, intervene at very different moments in the season, travel the field, only addressing the parts where you need to go. So, I'm not a robotics expert by any means, but I think there's some really interesting paradigm shifts to think about. What if a combine, or what if a tractor with an implement was actually 20 mini machines? What would that look like? What happens to the whole way we do farming and the things that it opens up? I think for me is something that I watch at a big picture. And then to build a little bit on what Darcy was saying, sort of when I look a bit at sort of the history of farming, we started with a fairly biological approach to fertilization. We were using manure or even night soil in some places to get nutrients. And then we discovered chemical synthesis, sort of post-World War II, the boom of the use of a lot of synthetic pesticides and fertilizer, which led to huge productivity gains. But now we're kind of going back to thinking, can we do sort of microbial and biotech as sort of the next way that we deliver that outcome, which is fertility? And I call this sort of a value pool shift or displacement. We've already done that in agriculture. We don't always think about it, which is in the early 90s, we were using a cocktail of pesticides to address pests. And then we invented genetically modified crops who would release either their own insecticide in the context of BT corn, or we completely simplified how we targeted weeds. Instead of having a multitude of different pesticides, we said, let's make the plant able to resist glyphosate and kill everything else but that plant, which led to a huge shift. The value went from pesticides to seeds and genetics. We'll think of the same concept in fertilizer and say, what if we can figure out how to have microbes and biologicals who actually handle the whole capture of fertilizer or fertilizing elements from the atmosphere? Well, that completely displaces the whole value associated with chemical fertilizers and shifts it to a biological solution. So I'm a kind of big picture macro strategy guy in certain moments, and this is sort of when I think 10, 15 years out, these are some of the two big themes that I'm really curious to see about how that leads to some very new things we didn't think about down on the field in the future.
I love that perspective, and I love the big picture thinking. I think, again, going back 20, 30, 50 years ago, those farming in those days would be incredibly amazed and in awe of how far we've come, and hopefully we'll get to see some of those more really exciting developments too. Carrie, I'll go to you to consult your crystal ball and maybe share a little bit about what you see in the future of ag tech.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to shake mine really hard because it was some really good points. I'll just start with the bit of the party line on maybe an aspect of this connectivity and to help support that is a role for government and the telecommunications to work together to help that, and in the effect where I look at, in Kane's role, we're bridging that gap between agri-food, agriculture mainly, and technology. We often want to look at, what is that low-hanging fruit? What are those technologies that lean into agriculture? It's pretty easier, like the robotics in an automotive. But for someone that's in a technology that is not thinking about agriculture, but they're realizing, as Alex said, what an amazing profession this is and an opportunity market that it is. And they say, well, I can't go there because if there's no connectivity, I can't even go there. What's that business opportunity? It'll be lost or way delayed because they can't even think about it. It's not going to be profitable for them. So I think about that as a foundation. If we want some, and I don't always believe in everything's going to be disruptive. I really believe it'll be incremental, but we won't get there if we don't have some of those foundations. And in past my career, I often thought, and this leans into some of the things that Alan was, but I did write it down, Alan, before you said it. So, but what it was is I always thought that you had to be really big to be efficient and productive and everything. But in Canada, it is about niche, and unlike the US, 10 times bigger, we have this opportunity. In the production side, it is more batch oriented, and whoever thought, I know Coke is a big player, but whoever thought I could buy a can of Coke that had my name on it? Batch has its advantages, but to do that, you have to really understand your business and you have to know all of the costs. So to get good at small, you have to really be, and so that goes back to that information capture, the ability, avoid all the pain points around that capture, but being able to do that really efficiently. Because I think there is a major, amazing opportunity for Canada's agriculture. We can be small, we can be nimble, we can be flexible, we can be good. And I think it all is based on what we're able to do to utilize that technology that comes forward. So I think it's an amazing space. I'm quite honored to be even working in this space because I think ag tech is an incredible opportunity that I'm so glad to see into this space. And I'll just say one other thing: having a father that was a chef, and there was never any celebrity chefs in my world when I was growing up. But the farmer, we talk about sustainability. Who is the keeper of all these amazing resources? And I know that they're very humble and they never want to see themselves as celebrities, but they've got an amazing opportunity and the providers of the next thing that we all cherish and to do the best thing with it. And I know they, them being in this business, that's always been part of what they've been about. And we probably need to talk about that more too. But I think it's amazing to see the next thing that comes forward.
I love all of these comments. What a rich discussion we've had today. So thank you to all of our panelists. I've come to the end of our questions and to the end of the discussion, but once again, I would just like to offer each of you my gigantic thanks for participating and joining us today. Your insights and your knowledge about the use of technology on the farm, your big picture thinking, your practical thinking, really appreciate it, and really enjoyed speaking with all of you today. I would also like to offer again thanks to our sponsors, Farm Credit Canada and Combine Ag, for their support of this discussion and this project. So on behalf of everyone at Top Crop Manager, I'm Stephanie Crowley, and I would like to thank everyone once again for watching. Take care.